In the desert, where love is a mirage, we dance a delicate dance, a camouflage. Under the stars, our hearts ignite. Oh, c'est l'amour, c'est l'amour. Our souls take flight, beautiful ruins.
I think my biggest struggle with mental health when dealing with athletics is definitely struggling with imposter syndrome. I think it's been a really hard journey for me all throughout my athletic life to validate myself in areas where I needed to validate myself. And I also think, like, for me as an athlete and for other people who are athletes as well, it's not really fair to yourself to confine yourself or place conditions of worth on things that at the end of the day don't mean that much, like titles and stuff like that, because I think, you will always be more than your sport. You're not just your sport, and it's important.
I feel like my biggest struggle is definitely that sometimes you feel like you can't express your frustration for your sport or your frustration with anything dealing with your sport because you're supposed to just like enjoy it, especially.
I think some of the biggest issues when it comes to mental health and athletics is sometimes it's kind of overlooked. I think a lot of times athletes will just repress and repress and repress until sometimes it gets to a point where you can't really do it anymore. And I think it makes you think that your issue is with the sport, but in reality, it's not with the sport. And it really makes you hate what you're doing at the end of the day, but sometimes you just have to be able to take a step back and realize it's more than that.
I feel like you can't show your frustration, but I also feel like everybody kind of feels like you have all these eyes watching you because you're representing your school even at the D3 level, so it feels like you still have to be like this perfect person who like has no issues, whether that's in your life or in your school.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable going to my coaches about my mental struggles because I have before. They've always been really receptive to feedback and really receptive to what I had to say and what I was feeling, and they were always really good about giving me some insight as well.
I definitely do feel comfortable going to my coach about mental struggles. I definitely have before. Both of their offices are always open and like they make sure to like have a safe space for us to go.
When I played in college, I transferred to three different schools. And I would say mental health, it was, am I going to fit in? Will I like my new teammates? And just the structure of having to learn something new again, there was a lot of self-doubt. I think that's a really tough question. Mental health is such a unique and wide range of categories. And so I would say right now it's difficult in the climate because of social media, and people are always comparing themselves to things that they see. And that was something that we didn't necessarily have even when I was in college 10 years ago. No, I would say really within the last decade, I think mental health kind of has been something that coaches and players talked about more. When I was growing up and even playing, that wasn't something that we would necessarily talk about.
In the desert, where love is a mirage, we dance a delicate dance, a camouflage. Under the stars, our hearts ignite. Oh,